Welcome to another episode of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Monday, or not Monday, Tuesday night. I'm back here, myself, Drew Skyberg, on again Tuesday night. Look, last week, unfortunately, no episodes came out. Again, I think our technical difficulties were all fixed, squared away here moving forward. So it'll be good to yet again bring you episodes consistently here, looking hopefully for Journey to Million again tomorrow. But otherwise, at your sports crew, look, the content has continued to come out, whether it's power rankings for baseball, for NFL, football, um, or other videos. You can check out at Drew Sports Crew on Instagram, X, or TikTok, or of course on YouTube here, Drew's Sports Crew is where you'll find that. So that's what's up here regarding updates and such. Of course, also took another week off in terms of the Brewers. Didn't really give us even with technical difficulties aside a reason for an episode. So it ended up kind of working out there in that aspect. But look, we're in a good time for sports. Other than that, we got the Bucks preseason has been going on. I'll talk about how they have fared in their first 3 games here. But then also the Green Bay Packers again had a great win on Sunday. I'll touch base on that. I'll also talk about the new kicker situation here that just came out here Tuesday, late Tuesday here. So we'll talk about those. I went through announcements again. Great to be back. I just recommend following on social media. Content comes out frequent on there at Drew Sports Crew. Again on Instagram, that's the place to be, or on TikTok at Drew Sports Crew as well. Just consistent content you'll get, and you can always join the comment section. Always talk with other sports fans. It's a lot of fun here at Drew Sports Crew. So let's go over to the Packers. We'll start in the world of football. Look, 34-13 is your final. Packers get the job done. They really cruise to a victory here. I know the game might look closer. It was 24-10 at half. But overall, look, the Packers, they flat out dominated this game. I'd say from start to finish, that fourth quarter, like the last 9 minutes when it was just chew clock. Like that's just a great win. You just love to see that. So this game, how it went was not going to break it down all the way, but really the Packers had a lot of momentum. It looked like Arizona, a team that's had their inconsistencies this year. They were blown out by Washington at home, but they come to Green Bay. It's cold. It's rainy. I say it's cold. It was in the 40s. It was. But for Arizona, a team that plays in a domed stadium and used to more heat and indoor environments, they come in and they face a tough environment for October, to say the least. I think that was a really big difference here for this squad. But overall, they had some injuries. It just didn't go their way at all. I think with Green Bay, right, having Romeo Doubs back, I know he didn't appear to necessarily be happy in those touchdowns, but it was just good to have him back with the team and the support he got from his teammates with what he's dealing with has been really good to see. So I like that. That Christian Watson touchdown was probably the best touchdown he's had since his rookie season. Just that 44-yard play, over the middle, beat his guy. Great throw by Love, of course. I think those were some standout plays there. But then we go to the kicking situation with Green Bay. Change, of course, being made with a miss there on Sunday. I think the defense was the other big thing, right? I mean, Kyler Murray didn't throw, no picks today, so Xavier McKinney, you don't get that stat. But I think what we saw was they really contained Kyler Murray, 7 for 14 on the ground. This is a running back or a quarterback that can easily get 50, 60 yards rushing in a game. That was really nice to see. But the run game was really contained. That was something we saw earlier the year with like JT, Saquon, right? A couple of guys where they were able to really get out and make plays happen. I think Quay Walker, I think that's a guy who, for me, had a really nice game. Of course, the safeties stand out as the guys who played the best. But right with Javon Bullard and having him and McKinney, of course, but also Isaiah McDuffie. He had a great game too. So like a lot of those linebacker types, which in this type of defense we felt earlier in the year might get more stats counting stats in terms of tackles and so on with how it shaked out, but it was overall nice to see. A good variety of defensive players getting involved. Again, unfortunately, no interception for McKinney, but I think the story that many people look at the game from was, if you're looking more on a fantasy side or general football side, was, hey, the Packers have 5 or 6 guys who are going to get involved, and the target share is going to be very spread out. Receiving is just very odd in terms of Jaden Reed led the team with 6 receptions, but it was just good variety 6, 3, 3, 2, 3. Like that the target share is very, very uneven, which I think is great for the Packers, great for this squad. And obviously, with Dontavian Wicks leaving early, that's unfortunate. It sounds like he's week to week. So we're going to need, it could be Bo Melton. Bo Melton, next guy up here, could get some more work. Obviously, with Dobbs back, it's already going to be Dobbs, Reed, Watson. Like that's 3 receivers already. But there's always that 4th guy who gets involved. And I haven't even mentioned Tucker Kraft yet. So that kind of aspect on this team is something that is definitely going to go a long way for them, I feel. They have a tough game next week, though. I think that's more meaningful at this stage of the week, right? Being at Tuesday already. They face the Texans. They got them at home, fortunately, but again, Texans are 5-1, so this is a great matchup for Green Bay. Great test, I think, is a good way to put it. Joe Mixon's back for them, so that's another story. Is Mixon, who's had a great year so far, is back. The game's on CBS as well. I should mention, Packers have been primarily on Fox this year, but it is at noon again. Thank goodness. 325 games are fine, not great though, in my opinion. So looking again, Packers are 4-2 with basically the rest of the division, right? But what we're looking right now at this is, you got 3 games before the bye week. Again, Houston at Jacksonville, Detroit. Ideally, you want to win 2 of 3 here, right? I mean, of course, 3 of 3 is what you'd want, but 2 of 3 here at Jacksonville better be a lock, right? That's kind of what we're looking at, but you want to win one of the, you have Houston, Detroit, both those are home games, so the favorable home games here. But I really like their schedule, and you can never just count wins. I always like to try to okay, what do we think the Packers will finish the rest of the year? So they're 4-2 right now. Houston, Jacksonville, Detroit. You take 2 or 3 of them, right? So you put them at 6-3 heading in the bye. Okay, at Chicago, come on, that's got to be a win, right? 7-3. You get San Francisco at home. Okay, could be a loss. 7-4. Miami, then you get. Well, let's give that a win. 8-4. Okay, at Detroit, that can be a loss. 8-5 at Seattle. I think that's a win. Was it 9-5? And then versus New Orleans, 10-5. At Minnesota, you always split with Minnesota, 11-5. Not to be a biased Packer fan, but you feel 11-6. Kind of looking at the rest of the year here is possible for sure. Maybe you split with Chicago. I know the streak, but maybe this year it ends. Chicago looks like a great squad too. A better squad, but just want to kind of throw that in there. Is I think this is a 10-11 win team. You'd hope so, and that should be good enough in the NFC for the playoffs. It seems the NFC is very odd this year in terms of kind of what we're looking at. And again, 6 weeks in, it's a little early. Minnesota could fall off. A team in the North is going to fall off. Many people think it's Minnesota and Chicago, which history would say yes, but who knows? Who knows what team it could be? Because right now in the North, again, with a lot of division games left, the Packers end the last 2 weeks division, and then their next division game again week 9. So a lot of division games coming up here for Green Bay. Again, Brandon McManus, you are a Green Bay Packer. Braden Arvison no longer. It appears he was released. They get him on a 1-year deal, which kind of was expected with him coming out or being available. So that's what we're seeing. And McManus, again, he's 33. Um, he's going to be a guy who they're going to lean on, a veteran kicker again. Look, they need a guy to just make the kicks inside 50 to say the least. That's been kind of the problem right now, as you all know as fans. So let's just hope for that. Along with the extra points, of course. Having Narvison lead league and missed kicks so far was tough to see. So um, let's pivot here to basketball now. That's our Packer talk. 10 minutes into the show here. Look, so far the preseason. So I've always found NBA preseason to be an odd one. So for those who don't know, you see roughly 4 preseason games. They actually they put them on national TV. Some of them. You don't even see this really with preseason. But the reason you see this more in the NBA is Giannis, for example, put up 24 and 10 in last night's game against Chicago. Starters get quality minutes in games like this, especially just to get up to game speed. Of course, there's not a huge concern in durability in these, as of course no back-to-backs, a lot of rest between the games. But overall, I think how the Bucks have looked this preseason has been same old. We're at this point with the Bucks where the veteran presence, we know the guys on the squad, and we know Giannis and Dame. We know they're going to perform at a high level consistently throughout. The guys who we might not know much about, Gary Trent, for example, seeing him come out and play. Look, I would right away pin him to. He's been the better Malik Beasley. Obviously, the numbers, 2 for 6 for 3, but just seeing him out there, seeing the impact he has, I think he's gonna be what Malik Beasley was, but maybe a little bit more. I think that's what you can expect from him, and that's what makes it really such a great signing. Overall, I'd say there were some tough games, though. There were some tough ones. AJ Johnson, right, the rookie for the Bucks, first round, or not their first draft selection. First rounder, but in 23rd overall was what he was. 2 for 15, 0 for 5 from 3. Those are games like that, like in the preseason we've seen from these young guys. Really with Marjan Beauchamp, you would think like this has to be the year for him to like have some sort of role, and it just doesn't seem to mesh right now. It still hasn't. I think he'll get some minutes off the bench, but I don't think he's going to be that impact guy we hoped. The other guy I want to mention, Taurean Prince, not the offensive output we've wanted for Prince. We haven't seen really so far. Again, he played 21 minutes, so right, not a whole lot of time, but 3 points, made a 3. He's going to be a catch and shoot guy. He's a guy who I hope they need more impact minutes out, especially at a forward spot there. Delon Wright too. 12 minutes did nothing. That's a guy who is going to have a better role. A Pat Bev plus role, right, in this offense, especially off the bench, having a backup point guard. That's a guy I'm monitoring right now. Of course, Chris Middleton not playing. The question with him. He's still the best. We know that, but those are some concerns of mine for this squad. So looking at it again, one more game left Thursday, October 17th at Dallas. And yeah, it's on TNT. So if you want to watch Bucks on national television already, go for it. The regular season already kicks off next Wednesday. Oh, that flew. I can't believe it. We're already to Bucks basketball. Well, the Brewers almost made it for us until, I won't mention it. But look, next Wednesday at Philly, kickoff. First game, right? The Packers kick off against Philly to open the season. Now we have the Bucks too. But they get right into it. They'll have 3 games in the first 5 days. So that's exciting. At Philly versus Chicago. And I'll touch on this next week here on the show. Is the plan. I do have to talk about, before I go, just some Brewers offseason stuff. What we're looking at, a little just brief offseason preview. we'll go basically kind of around the horn, position by position. What I think initially here, I think this is just always fun to do. So the 2025 Brewers, I think catching will be William Contreras. All right, that's a gimme. I'll get the gimmies out. I'll go around. I think that's easier. Have him catch. Bryce Terang's going to stay at second. I went like that because at first I think Hoskins. I think there's going to be some sort of platoon there. Hoskins, is it Yelich moving to first? That's a spot where I could just say Jake Bauers, but not that they move on from Bauers. Just I think that they're going to need a better platoon option against right-handed pitching at first. So I think Yelich, that'd be really awesome if he moved there. Second base again, Terang. Third base. Okay, third base could be Sal Frelick. It could be as an option. They need a third baseman who can hit lefties, almost like when they got Mike Brosseau a couple of years ago. Obviously, they need a player a couple tiers better than that, but that kind of aspect, they could platoon third. I'd be fine with it. Ortiz, everyday shortstop, fine with. But they could also just like shock all of us and leave Ortiz at third and then get a shortstop. That's the other move here, but let's just say for fun, that's what it'll be. Outfield, right? Churio is going to be out there. Perkins, and then again a platoon and right could be with Sal again. You would see him get some time out there. I mentioned again Perkins. So and then Mitchell, of course, too. Mitchell would be out in center with Perkins, kind of on some odd platoon, and then the odd man out too, potentially in right. But that's where I think Sal is such a great fit in right, where you might not want to mess that up or move that. So obviously you need to bring in an outfielder, a corner outfielder. I think that's kind of where I am here. That can hit lefties. You want to bring in a corner outfielder who can hit lefties. You want to bring in a third baseman who can hit lefties. If you do one of those two things, both of them, and then also bring in a first baseman who can hit righties, kind of like Jake Bauers. They might keep Bauers, but I really like Bauers. I'm a Jake Bauers fan for sure. It's just he didn't do enough. 199 average, even the OPS 662, OPS plus, he was below average. So every stat leads to he was below average for the position he was playing. There's got to be some sort of change. I know those home runs, come on, those back-to-back home runs, like those were electric. If those mattered, those would have been the best. That would have been the all-time moment. And I know you all have gone back to watch that Sal Frelick home run. Everybody has. And that is a great one. That was a beauty. Same with Jake, of course, but Sal's home run. It was his first since like June, May. What was it? Legendary stuff, nonetheless. Okay, that is the talk here on the show. It's been great to be back here on this episode. Again, episode 185 for the Week 6 recap, a little Week 7 preview with Packers, Texans, and then talking through the Bucs preseason here, how it's gone. One more game left, and then with the Brewers, right? A little just brief, fun game, kind of who will be at what position the upcoming year. Of course, Gary Sanchez too will maybe be back in there as well. A little DH catcher kind of platoon there, but that'll wrap it here for myself, Drew Skyberg, on this Tuesday night. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, at Drew Sports Crew. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.